G'day everyone, good to see you. Doris is in the background there. Doris is nearly finished. This video is called The Little Things, Attention to Detail. Check the video out and you'll see why it's called that. I think it'll be evident at the end. See you then. Okay, got one of the doors done. So we'll spend about an hour sanding, about an hour masking, and about 30 seconds putting primer on. Then I scuffed that up with green Scotch-Brite, and then I've put on one coat of my silver Duplicolour. So all in all, about 2.5 hours work, including about 3 minutes of painting. Fantastic. Ready to take the masking off soon. So this is what I started with on the other door. So it looked exactly the same as this. And what I did was I got some cardboard, just some old manila folders, and cut it into strips. And this is it here, around the outside. And I pushed that cardboard between the metal frame and the window channel, the Bailey channel, where the glass goes in, so that I don't get paint on it, but I can get right around the lip, get paint on there. So I pushed that in around here, around all these sides, and then I masked everything else up. But yeah, that helps me to get right in there, because it's quite hard to mask in those edges. And otherwise, in areas like this, I ran masking tape around, cut it with a Stanley knife. So that's what you can see here. Masking tape cut with a Stanley knife to the shape, or just a blade actually. Now this part here, for the quarter window, I was able to get the rubber, this rubber, and just push it out a bit. And when I do this one, I'll try and do the same. This one here I wasn't able to push out, so I just had to mask it. And again, just masked up along the lines here, because I'm trying not to get paint on the rubbers. And then obviously I had to go around and mask all the door seals and everything as well. I'm only doing the outside edge, remember? So yeah, I think it's come up very well. When we take the tape off and all the paper, then we will know, and that'll be in minutes. It's been about a week since I've been on the Datsun, maybe even more. So last you saw, I'd done this door, which came up well, and I've prepped this one and just giving it its first coat of paint. Had to go and get a new one, and while it's the same colour, which is Quicksilver, it actually has a different code on the top of the lid. So hopefully the colours will match. As I've said before, I'm colourblind, so I'll know once they're next to each other, but while it's wet, it's a bit hard to tell. If it's not the same, then I guess I'll go over it again. Maybe I'll check it before I take the masking off, because it takes forever. Anyway, you'll remember a video or so ago that I put some stuff in some molasses. Now that was about a week and a half ago, and I promised you that it would smell, and while you can't smell it, I can. It smells like a mouldy citrus milkshake in here, but this is also what I promised. Mouldy disgust, which tells me it must be doing something. Now this is about the time that you might expect to see little creatures living in here as well, so it's a good time to have a look at it, scoop off that disgusting mess off the top, which is literally mould, and I'm going to take the pieces out. Gotta have gloves on when I do this, I really don't want to touch that. Take the pieces out and give them a hose off, and we'll see how they come up. Right, I got those inside. Once again, they potentially could go for another coat. That's just a bit of silicone and stuff on that one there. But these here, there's a spot on the back there that could do with some further treatment. No, I'm convinced that if I put that in for about another, actually that's just rubbing off. If I just give that a clean, it'll probably come off. This one here, probably the same, just give it a clean. If you can't remember what they looked like, then go back to the previous video and have a look. But they weren't absolutely horrible, but they certainly had corrosion on them in all different spots. These parts here have come up really well. These battery bracket clamps, this one here, I could probably give a bit more of a clean. Now reality, I would normally just get this and put it on the wire wheel on my bench grinder over here. So just on this wire wheel, go through and give it a clean up, which is what I'm going to do. But I figured I was throwing stuff in the molasses, so I'll give it a go in the first place. This has removed a lot of the corrosion. Once I put it on the wire wheel, it'll come up great. Putting on things on the wire wheel does set the risks of taking off the anodizing, which is a rust preventative treatment. So these here, I'm not going to put on the wire wheel, perhaps that little spot there, but if I do, I'll take the anodizing off and then it's got less rust resistance anyway. And then the bonnet latch, it's got a bit of paint on it. It's come up really well. All the rust is gone. All the threads are clean. It's got a bit of paint on it. So I could probably just realistically go through and scratch that off just with a razor blade or something if I wanted. However, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just put a little bit of paint stripper on there and it'll melt away. Just got to be careful not to kill any rubber bits. There isn't any on that, but on pieces like this, the paint stripper could affect the rubber, but there's no paint on that anyway, so it's not a drama. These little chrome plates, I put those in there. I think they just had a few spots of rust on them. They'll clean up fine. Paint, probably just scrape that stuff off. So it's just all about the finer detail. This little clip doesn't even get seen. It holds on the latch on the back of the tailgate, so in a panel, but it's got the rust off it. I'll put some phosphoric acid on it, leave it there, it'll have a coating and it'll be good. I'll also run this on the wire wheel just a little bit. So just to be clear, it gets the rust away, but sometimes you do need to go through and give it a little bit more effort. If you've just got some raw steel and it's got rust on it, you put it in there, it comes up fantastic. But some of the more detailed parts need a little bit more work. But this stuff will come up great. I'll give it a bit of a clean. I'll just show you what it's like once it's all finished. Okay, so I've given that a clean. I put some things on the wire wheel, things like this. Probably still looks rusty to you, but it's a lot better than it was. I have a philosophy that if something's clean, it has a better chance of working. So I always try and make everything clean. Bolt heads, even go through, screw heads, bolt heads. I'll even go through and just clean out where the screwdriver goes in. That way you're not going to strip it out. But all these plates, they've come up pretty well. As I said, I'm being careful not to damage the anodizing on them. So this component came up really well. I gave it a quick go in my sandblast cabinet, which I've never had a real lot of success with. I think I need to change the grit. I got it for free a while back and I haven't really sort of looked into it too much. I've never had much success with small sandblast units, so I haven't invested in the grit yet. But all of these coming up okay. So as I said, I have a philosophy that if it's clean, it'll work better. That's all that matters. I'll chuck some lubricant on all of this stuff. This had the paint on it. I scraped some of it off and I sandblasted a bit of it. It's come up well. So are they like new? No. Are they much better than they were? Absolutely. I'm very happy with them. Things like this, mild steel, they're the most obvious things. Bit of wire wheel. I could have just wire wheeled them anyway, but there was absolutely no dust when I was doing it, and it literally was maybe a minute on each of these just to clean them up. They'll just look better. I could give them a coat of paint because they might rust up again. I may not. Remember, I haven't really done much else in the engine bay. So generally speaking, that's okay. My door latches and things, I think I'll frustrate myself and put them in the sandblast cabinet to see if I can take this paint off, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to come back to paint stripper. So I'll let you know how that goes. So I had a chat to John Lee Hooker and Howland Wolf, and they told me I needed to fix the sandblaster. So before, blaster. Looks pretty good. Just had to take the medium out and put it back in again. It had just sort of settled and gone hard, but I think that's pretty good. It takes a while. It's not exactly the fastest process, but you can't deny the results. There's a little bit here I've got to get. So on to a bit more sandblasting. Okay, number 2, looking great. I can say I've missed a little bit of paint there. It's got to stay that way too. One thing I can tell you that I've learnt about sandblasters: if you can see what you're doing, it's probably not working. The minute you can't see what you're doing, you know there's sand going through there. Catch-22. I reckon that's pretty darn good. It's the little things that make the difference. So this is those parts that I've been cleaning up. I think they make a difference to the overall impression of the car. Door strikers, sandblasted up. Just got some tape around the perimeter of the door at the moment because I'm going to fit the door up and I don't want to scratch the paint. But I've got the chrome work on the tailgate, the latches and so on. All nice and clean, should work well. Just got to go around. I've just been going around and polishing up the interior. I'd really love to paint it, but it's not going to happen. So what you see there is at this stage as good as any of the paintwork's going to get. It is as clean as it can get. Yeah, I'd like to go further, but I suspect I won't. So I'm going to try my hardest to mount this door without scratching the paint. Davina, my wife, is inside. I really don't want to disturb her, but we'll see. Well, that seemed more difficult than it should have been. And in fact, it's a lot more difficult than it should have been. And probably the main reason is because I'm a bloody idiot. I forgot to take a bolt out of the top hinge that goes inside. So I haven't got a chance of getting that hinge in place because there's the bolt there. So how about I take the bolt out the bottom hinge, take the bolt out of the top one that's behind the hinge, and then try again. See if I have success this time. Wow, that was much easier when I took the bolt out. So I've got the hinges in. I kind of wish I'd painted the hinges yellow now, but look, at the end of the day, the interior is still white. It is what it is. Maybe the bolts should have been left white. Doesn't matter. Let's zoom in a bit. So what you may hopefully be able to see is the evidence marks around the bolt, right in the middle here. So right there. So those evidence marks are where the bolts used to be. So these little shadows here. So the good thing about not painting the hinges is, theoretically, if I just get the door so that the hinges are back in the same position, then hopefully it'll close and open the same way that it did before. Now it's a good thing I put this tape on as well, because on the mudguard I noticed that I've actually damaged the tape. Down in this area here, I've damaged the tape from the door rubbing on it. Hopefully I haven't damaged the door, I damaged the paint on the mudguard I mean, but that is the reason I put the tape there. Pretty awkward to do this by yourself. It's pretty awkward to do it without getting some sort of damage. But those little telltale shadows where the bolt and washer used to be on the hinge is what I'm talking about. They'll hopefully help me line the door up to where it was before. Because I've changed the mudguard, well, I've repaired the mudguard and put it back, but other than that, the body and the door is still the same. So first view of it with a door. So I've got those bolts in pretty close to where they're meant to be. I haven't tried to close it yet, so let's very carefully have a look. Looking okay there. Looks like the whole door could come up a little bit at the back. Could probably move forward a bit too. I'm not really sure how to do that, but we'll have a look at that in a minute. Hopefully all those dirty marks come off. So I haven't adjusted the latches yet, they're just in there loosely. So I can adjust those so that I can get the door to latch and close. But as far as it goes, gap looks pretty big at the front. Looks pretty big at the back as well. Maybe it's just got big gaps. It's got big gaps everywhere else. But it does seem a little bit tighter here than it does here, and definitely, sorry, looser. Seems tighter here than it does here, and it's very tight at the back here. So the door needs to lift up. Needs to lift up like that. I think it has got a bit of wear in the pins, but I think there's enough adjustment in the bolts to be able to fix that. Let's check that. Okay, so I've just tightened those up and I pulled the bottom of the door, this part here, up, and it's much better now. Still tighter at the back than it is at the front, but I haven't adjusted the latch yet, but it's looking a lot better. I think there's some bolts in the door there and there that I can get into from inside the door. So here and here, if I loosen those, I might be able to slide the door forward on the hinges, which will hopefully even the gaps up a bit. No matter what I do, I think the gap's got to be wide here and tighter here, but we'll have a play around with it, see if we can make it better. And I also need to remember to put the two internal hinge pocket bolts in. So one of the ones that I forgot to take out before. So with the door open, these hinge pocket bolts go in here and here. So I'll put those, and presumably that'll make the hinges a bit more secure as well, and then I can worry about making adjustments. I'll do that. We have a door. It sits out a little bit here, not a lot, it sits out a little bit here. There's a tiny little chip on it there which I'll have to brush touch, and you may remember I put some leftover paint into a Tupperware container, into a plastic container, put it in the freezer specifically for this purpose, so I can brush touch. So I'll get a tiny little paintbrush and touch up a little spot there, and just on the mud guard where I said that damaged the tape, there is the slightest little scuff mark there. It might just rub out, or I may have to touch it up. Now as far as door gaps go, it's even, it's pretty big. The guard does sit out a little bit at the bottom. I can't pull it in any further. So, I don't know. I'm not sure if it was like that before or not, but look, I think it looks pretty good. So, even door gap down the back here. It's tight up here, but it's even, so it's even from there to there. It's just tighter than what it is here. I don't think there's anything I can do about that. Got the latch adjusted, so that's all good. The hinges came up all right. Paint's all right. Door closes. Door opens. Can't ask for much more than that. I think I've got to finish tightening this from memory. So we've got a door. Oh, and I didn't show you. I put the bonnet latch on before, after detailing it. Sounds funny to detail the bonnet latch, but it's the little things that make the difference. So over here, this is our nicely sandblasted bonnet latch with painted bolts, and then the top part with unpainted bolts. I need to clean that edge up. So other than the fact that I didn't paint the engine bay, it's looking pretty good in there. I've got to put bolts on the mudguards, and I'm going to give it a bit more of a clean up, and I will paint the air cleaner and the rocker cover, and I'll paint the radiator. Other than that, I'm not really sure. I'm probably not going to paint the rest of it, but other than that, it's pretty good. So we're ready for a door and a tailgate, and they're ready to go back on. So they're next. Much like the right-hand door, the driver's door, this is all pretty grotty. I cleaned the driver's door up, so all this stuff. I used a combination of wax and grease remover, glass cleaner, a very fine scourer, and then some cutting compound and some polish. You'll see the door seals have come off at some stage and someone's glued them back on. Actually, these little seals were missing off the other door. So I'll see if I can take that off with some thinners, but I do stand the chance of taking the paint off as well, because it will probably melt because it's not 2-pack. I've just noticed that I did a rust repair on this door just here, so I've got to glue the seal back on, which I'll use contact adhesive to do, this stuff here, but I won't make as much mess. And I probably needed to paint the inside of the door. We'll see. I'll go through and give it a good clean up. So this here, I elected not to paint it like the outside. Just that was what I chose to do. I'm not really doing anything to the interior. A little bit of overspray there. So I'll clean all that up. I did armour all the seals on the other door to blacken them up, but also to soften them up a bit. So I just went through and gave them a little bit of armour roll, and hopefully it'll just rejuvenate them a bit, just cleans it up just that little bit. So you can see this one, certainly not beautiful. Obviously needs a door trim. Certainly not beautiful, it's got little chips and things on it, but listen to the way that closes. But it's certainly better than this one. So we'll see. Will I be able to get rid of these? No. Will I be able to clean that up? Absolutely. And I'll go in and get into all the spots that I can, the hinges and everything, and make it as good as I can. I'll show you when it's done. Okay, short time later, giving that a good clean up. So I started off by wiping it down with wax and grease remover, then liberally sprayed glass cleaner on it, and then I used a very fine Scotch-Brite and scrubbed it. Then I cut and polished it, and I then finally polished it. I also used a razor blade to scrape off some of that adhesive. I'm not going to go in too much into these areas. It's hard to get in there, and I'll through fear of scratching the paint off, I'm just going to leave it. It's not terribly visible, but I did clean it up a fair bit. There are some areas that I need to glue the rubber on, though this corner, where I peeled it off. So the rubber's not in great condition, but it still does the job. So I'm going to glue that on with contact adhesive. So I just use Quick Grip. It's just a contact adhesive. And the idea is that nice clean surface, apply it to the surface, apply it to the back of whatever you're adhering, so in this case the rubber, and put them together and then pull them apart again. And let it sit for about 5 or 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it takes, until it's almost dry, it's almost tacky. And then when it is, then put them back together, hold them in place, and that stuff is going to stay there. That's a, what do they call it? A contact bonding. That's the method they say. You can also use it as a wet bond, where you just put the glue on one surface, put it there, and away you go. But the contact bonding, from my experience, is far stronger. So that's what I'm going to do. But I think you'll agree, the interior of that door certainly looks better than it did before. I obviously took the dirty plastic off, and I'll put a nice clean door trim on there. It looks a lot better than it did. at this point, I'm going to bring the two surfaces together. Oops, I made a bit of a mess. Put the two surfaces together, and then I'm going to pull them apart. And the stuff that I've just accidentally got where I don't want it, I can just wipe off. Not sure what I wipe it off with, but I'll read that and it'll tell me. I'm just going to let it sit in place. It'd be really tempting just to leave that there. But if I want to get this really strong, I'm going to peel it apart. Now I need to sit it on something so I don't make more mess. Cardboard, hopefully. That's actually gripping really well already. It's actually quite warm here at the moment, so this shouldn't take too long. I'm just going to stick that like that. In the meantime, I'll just clean this up. That's already gone tacky. This stuff's got to stick really quickly. I'm not going to leave this for very long at all, just a couple of minutes. It's really tacky on here. This is fantastic product for sticking door seals. You've just got to be really careful with it because you might make a big mess and have trouble cleaning it up. So running masking tape around the perimeter of where you're putting the seals is a good idea if you're putting brand new seals on. So maybe tape right the way around both sides, put the seal on. If you accidentally glue over some of the tape, razor blade, cut it off, leave some of the tape behind there. The rest of it's going to be plenty strong enough. So I can tell you, that's nice and firm. That was only a few minutes ago. So that seal's back on. I'm going to put some armour oil on that, and then that door is ready to mount. So our dash pad in this is pretty beaten around. It's got some pretty big cracks in it. I guess if you wanted to, you could repair it, and it certainly could be valuable to someone, but not me. The reason being is that I received a dash pad with this car. Obviously the person that I bought it off intended to replace it at some point in time and didn't get around to it. So I'm going to just give it a clean up. Done. I'll give it a clean up. I will armour all it, all that sort of stuff. It's got a bit of overspray or something on it over there. And put it in. And hopefully it's not going to be too hard a job. Okay, there's a bit of stuff under here I've got to clean off. It's definitely going to be better than what's on it. So we'll give that a clean up. It's got some push clips that seem to go into probably some holes on the dash, just here and here. This seems to be a screw, and then there's some screws across here. So 2 and 3 over here. Glove box goes in there, so I'll probably have to take the glove box out. But overall I don't think it'll be too hard to fit. And it will certainly look better than that. Good camera angle, isn't it? It'll look better than that. Righto, we'll get onto that shortly. So let's see if I can replace this dash with the minimum amount of work rather than the maximum amount of work. So we've got 2 little bolts on the steering wheel side, and there's 1, 2, 3 along here. So this is over near the left hand door. This one, when I measure it out, appears to be just about the right hand side of the glove box there. So I think what I need to do is take the glove box insert out so I can put my hand in there to get to this. Now, looks like it's about an 8mm nut, so hopefully there's enough room in there to swing a spanner. Also notice on this dash that someone's yanked this strip forward and broken this clip off, so I could go through and glue that back on. Might straighten this bit out as well. I could go through and glue that on, but what I'm thinking is that when I take the old dash out, maybe it's not broken, so I can just replace it. Looks like just bending these tabs back over, moving it out, putting it back in, should be good. So I haven't done any cleaning. Actually, there's another bolt just here. So when I pop the ashtray out of the dash, then I've got to remember just to put my hand towards the windscreen, and there's a bolt there. Okay, can you remind me about that? Because I'll probably be trying to pull it out later and we'll be wondering why it's not coming out. I am curious to know what this is for. Looks like it takes a light globe or something, but it's just the other side of the dash. Anyway, enough chitter chatter. Let's try and get this glove box insert out. So what I can see is there's 2 Phillips head screws on the bottom that fix the lid to the dash, and what I'm thinking is that the insert is sandwiched between here and the actual dash, and then behind these little stop things here, you can probably see a screw there. There's one there and one on the other side. I'm thinking if I undo those, it might release the insert from the top. So that's my theory. We'll see how far off from reality my theory is. I don't use this very often, but when I do, it's handy. Little 1/4" drive ratchet. I use it a bit, but the little Phillips head socket on there, it's good for getting into places like this, where a screwdriver may not fit. Maybe miracles do exist. 4 screws, out comes the glove box insert. Put my hand in, I can reach those bolts. Okay, so we're part way there. I ended up having to take the parcel shelf out from underneath the dash, as well as the dash insert, and I chose to release the radio just to push it back so I could get my hand into that slot to get to the nut that is at the back of the ashtray. I've got the 2 undone from here, and I've pushed a couple of the clips up. Oh, it's a bit hard to show. The dash is sort of somewhat loose. But what I realised was that it's got to come forward to come out of the bolts behind here, but the actual dash, the gauge cluster, is in front of it. So I've just taken the nuts off from around the switches for the heater and the wiper, and now what I've just come across is that I couldn't get this out, and then I've realised, I noticed earlier, I'll show you on the other dash, I noticed earlier that there was a hole in the top of the dash. Not the one that I was talking about over here, but there's a hole here. And I've worked out that there is a screw, a Phillips head screw, that is down in there. Where are we? I'm showing you this in case you've got a Datsun. Anyone else, it might not be terribly interesting to. You have to believe me. Down in here, no, I can't film it, but down in there, in that hole, there's a Phillips head screw. And from underneath I can feel that that Phillips head screw is also holding the dash in place. No, I cannot get it, I'm sorry. So I'm going to find an appropriate screwdriver to get that, undo that. Hopefully the dash will slip forward and then the pad will come out. You know when your apprentice keeps coming up to you all the time and saying, okay, I've done that, what do you want me to do now? Okay, I've done that, what do you want me to do now? And you just give them a job just to get them out of your hair. Well, I'm pretty sure that Mr. Takiguchi, the engineer that was working on the Datsun dash at the time, thought, oh look, just go and work out how to put a screw in the middle of the dash. Because seriously, this car, everything about it's pretty simple. And that's such a dumb idea, really. But I've got it undone. Try not to kill myself. Don't break the dash. Don't break the plaster. Look at that. Ow. You know you want to do it. Probably be easier if I want to try and not block the camera. Okay, there we have it. Righto, and this is what I'm talking about. This here, this is apprentice. I need something to do kind of work. See that screw just there? That one there, that you go through that hole that was in the dash to get that screw undone, to release this, to release that, to bring it forward so you get the dash pad out. So you just drill a hole in the dash for that. Okay, we've got it out. Look at that, beautiful. Okay, old versus new-ish. So we'll give that a good clean up. We'll put some armour all on it, and all that sort of stuff. There's a little sticker on here, not sure what it is. Looks like two birds kissing. So this part here is what I was talking about earlier. So I think I'll just unfold those little clips. Let's zoom you in a bit. I'll just unfold these little clips just here. Do the same on this one and replace that piece with this piece. Interestingly, the underside of this dash looks in far better condition than the one I'm about to replace it with, but the top doesn't. So there's some way that I could easily take the pad off this and put the pad from that one on here. I would, but that's not the way it works. Anyway, doesn't really matter. I'm going to give it a good clean up, change that bit over, and then we'll have a look what it looks like. Okay, well that was easy enough. So what I did, I took the one off the broken dash first, so that I didn't go breaking this one anymore, just in case it wasn't as easy as I thought. But it was. Bend those tabs, little screwdriver, just lever it out, and away we come. So we got that. I'll give that a good clean up, and then we'll put it on. I'll have a look at that one if that one's in better condition. What I do notice is that the screws here on the old dash are in quite good condition. So I don't know how hard it is to take the panel out that holds that little metal bit. Hard, so answer that question, not doing that. So I'll pop this one out as well. So that's the one that was broken, where that tab was. So I've just got to remove that piece there. I'm not going to throw any of this away. I'm going to fix that piece to there. I'm going to glue it there. And I'm going to straighten that out. I'm going to put that back on there because this dash, or parts of it, could be useful to someone else. Just not necessarily me. They don't make these cars anymore, so parts are not that easy to come by. Okay, so that's going to pop on there, like so. Give it a clean up. Give the whole dash a clean up. Straighten out some little bent bits there. And I will run some dyes around these threads just to clean them up. This one over here, where are we? This one over here is a little bit bent out of shape. So yeah, the dash is a bit bent. I'd say someone's been given that a yank to get it out because they couldn't work out how to do it, which is understandable. Okay, let's give it a clean up. Righto. So if you've been watching me for a while, you know that window cleaner is my go-to for cleaning just about everything. It just is. So I've just got some window cleaner on here. It's in a Windex bottle. Actually it might even be Windex, but I buy it in bulk. It's not expensive. So I'm just going to go through, clean the grain off. I did clean it a couple of times in the first place, and this stuff here is what came off. I don't know if it was something that someone had sprayed onto it, whether it was a combination of dust and armour all, or whether it's the colour coming off the surface of it, I'm not really sure. But just giving it a clean. Can't see much black stuff coming off it now, so let's have a look here. No, it's still coming off. So maybe if I keep doing it forever it'll turn white, but I'll just give it a bit of a clean. There's some stuff under there. Might carefully just use with this scourer. Don't want to scratch the dash. Don't want to scratch it, but maybe I can get whatever that is off. It'll come off with a little bit more work. Something in this corner here. So I'm just going to go through, give it a clean up, and then we'll put something like Armour All or vinyl restore of some sort on it. Okay, just got that sitting there drying. I'll worry about putting something on it a bit later. I've got to concentrate my efforts on these strips. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try Auto Sol aluminium polish or purple or both to clean them up. But what I'm not going to do is do the new one or the good one first. I'm going to do the original one. I'm going to test it because if I ruin it, then it doesn't really matter. So it's unlikely that I'll ruin it, but hey, I've got one there, I might as well use it. So this Auto Sol aluminium polish is exactly as it sounds. So the reason I'm doing this, I think this is aluminium, but I'm not sure if it's got like an anodized coating on it or something. So this shiny bit I think will come up shiny. The dull bit, I'm not sure what's going to happen. So okay, so black is coming off, so it means that it is polishing it, which is the cleanest dirty rag I can find. So what do we see? This is shinier. That's probably just cleaner. I don't know that polishing that dull part is going to make any difference, but polishing this shiny part might. So that is cleaner. It's definitely cleaner. I'll keep going with that. I might just try the other polish, the purple, and I might just try some window cleaner and a toothbrush because I might as well conserve effort. So let's just try them. Glass cleaner and a toothbrush. At the end of the day, it's not going to polish. All it really needs to do is be clean. See what comes off that. Okay, so it's not blackening it. That's clean, that's shinier. Let's try some purple. A nice clean dirty rag again. This spot. It's raining outside. You might hear that on the roof. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. That's the winner. What do we got? We have the Auto Sol just here. The purple just here. And to be honest, and the glass cleaner I think was just here. The purple is the winner. Bringing out clean. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, old and new. So obviously the old one, I did replace the strip as you know. Put some Armour All on this, so it's still a bit damp. Normally Armour All stays shiny. This stuff I've put 3 coats on, it seems to be dulling off. Whatever, it's black. But clearly a lot better. So those strips came up well. End up using the purple on them. This one's a little duller than this one, but you're not going to notice it. At the end of the day, when you're sitting there looking out the windscreen at the traffic in front of you, you're going to be looking over the top of a dash that isn't cracked. So I think next I'm going to jump in here before I put the dash back together, and I'll give everything else a clean up. I'll polish up the paintwork on the dash, and I will clean the steering column, all that sort of stuff. And if I've got some black vinyl spray, I think I'm going to paint the kick panels black. I've got some overspray on them, but I'm not really worried about that. So if I haven't, then I might go and buy some at some point. And I think the steering column, the chrome on the horn button should come up all right. This video is going to be titled The Little Things, Attention to Detail, because it's the little things that make a difference. So let's keep going. So I've just been going through and cleaning. Now this is where the dash pad goes over the top of. The paint down the bottom here gets seen. But I'm cleaning all of it anyway, because as I said, it's the little details that make the difference. Where those vents are at the back, they get seen, and so does a little bit of the paint around them. So they were pretty grotty before. I've still got to do a bit over there, but it just makes a difference. So things like these little gaps just here, I'll get into those. Just going through and cleaning the pillars up, because as I've said many times, I'm not painting the interior, so I've got to put a sun visor here. So even like this vinyl strip that goes around here, the grottiness in it, if you clean that out, it makes a big difference. So I've started cleaning the roof lining on this side, haven't started on that side yet. So if you just look up at it, it looks pretty disgusting, but then when you go through and just give it a wipe, again, I'm just using glass cleaner at this stage. You can see this bar just here. You can see where I've done and where I haven't. You can see this part over here, where that's clean, but then behind it, really, really grotty. So it's this sort of stuff that cleaning it up, you don't have to spend a lot of money. It just takes time. Glass cleaner, rags, elbow grease, toothbrush, and some time. That's about all it's going to get. So I'm not going to put you through watching the whole thing. I'll show you what it's like at the end. So still just working away under the dash here, and as you can see, continuing to clean. But I thought I'd have a go at the heater, because there is a part here where there's a knob that's supposed to go on there, and I couldn't get it to work. I did find a knob in the car, which I've now misplaced. Here it is. I found this in the car, and it presumably goes on there to turn it so you can turn the heater tap. But I did notice that the heater hoses had been disconnected, so I'm presuming that the heater core element in there is faulty. The vent works, so it goes in and out. Got the heater, the radiator wire there at the moment, and the pull for the heat, that's just to open or close it, and then you've got the vents like this, but that actually turns the heater tap on to let the hot water go through the core. So I couldn't get that to turn, but then I thought, oh, okay, so what are these? What's this bit over here? What's it do? And then I noticed, so showing you over this side, I noticed that there is the demister tube up there. So this here, so it goes up to the underside of the dash to demist the windscreen, defog it, whatever. And then I looked down, and that isn't what I saw. What I saw is the same as what I can see on this side. This. And what it is the heater hose seems to have just, just the tube that goes to the demister seems to have just completely melted into the heater. I'll show you. But I think it's supposed to be a hose. It goes from point A to point B, but instead it's just a congealed bunch of melted plastic. So the other side was like that as well. So that wasn't going to work. So a couple of things I need to do. Try and sort out why this isn't turning, which I presume is a seized heater tap. Try and source some sort of hoses for those. I'll probably just make something. It's a pretty short distance, shouldn't be too hard to work something out. Other than that, I know that the rest of it moves and works and all the rest of it. I might put some new foam on those flaps just to seal it when you're not using it. But I thought that was interesting. There must have been some serious heat in there. So, I don't know, it looks like I'm going to be undoing a couple of bolts and dropping the heater core out. Might not be too big a job because the hose is already disconnected, so it might be a couple of wires, a couple of brackets. We'll see. We will see. Okay, 4 or 5 screws, disconnecting a wire, taking one of the vents, demister vents out, and the heater's out. It's just a standalone unit, which they obviously put in. I don't know if it's retrospectively put in, whether it's an accessory. I would think that it's not. These cars are very similar. They remind me of the Volkswagen. Really, really utilitarian. They're just designed for a purpose. Everything is actually really easy to work on, simple. I think it must have been a very economical car back in its day. Okay, so we will get the leaves out. That's not going to help it. And might as well have a look at the function of this while we're here. So we pull, which lever is that one? The vent lever. That opens that. So that goes up underneath the windscreen, so where the cowl is across the front of the wipers, the vent there. So you pull that, air comes in, goes down onto your feet, and then the heater, you pull that one, and look at that. It allows hot air to go to places, somewhere, I don't know where it goes. So yeah, you can't have the vent open and the heater open at the same time, but you could have them half and half. Yep, so you could have them half and half by the looks of things. Maybe not. Anyway, heater hoses, so there will be a little radiator core in there, heater core in there. This is the fan. Where are we? The fan inside there, so the impeller. It spins. From memory, I was able to get that to spin when I had the car, the battery in it and everything. But what I need to sort out, the only reason I've got this out, so the cover just clips off. The only reason I've got this out is to try and sort this out, and I guess I can play around with the hoses, the size of the hoses that I need on the base here at the same time. But I had no desire to pull this out, and just needed to come out to do this. This would probably be a pretty cool little thing to put in a hot rod. Small heater, demister, fan. Remember that if you're building a hot rod, I reckon one of these might be the go. So I think what I need to do is what? I need to take this cover off the front here so that I can get to whatever that is, which I think is a heater tap. And I think that's going to involve taking this knob off. This one doesn't look like it comes off, so I don't know what the go is there. Anyway, I'll pull it apart and we'll have a look. Okay, so Nissan Datsun broke with tradition. There were 6 screws holding the cover on rather than the usual 4. So heater core, tap. So this goes in here. 6 screws around the outside. A couple of wires here. I'm just going to disconnect those from the back here. And then, as we can see, the heater core, which comes from the cooling system, if you're unaware. It's just part of your cooling system on the engine. Hot water goes in one side, runs through the heater core, a fan blows across that, blows the warm air onto the windscreen, onto your feet, wherever, and then the water returns back into the cooling system. So it's part of your cooling system. So if this leaks, then you've got cooling system issues. Looking at the corrosion on this, I think it probably does leak, and it's not unusual. Usually if you see a heater core that's been disconnected, it means it's got a leak. But what we also have, so I'm going to take this out, I'm going to put it onto a garden hose, and I'm going to put water through it and see if I can get it to leak. If it doesn't leak, well, maybe it just doesn't leak. And this is the tap. Now, because it's part of the cooling system, it's probably just seized up through corrosion. I may be able to spray some lubricant or something down there to get that to move. But in the first place, I'll give it a good clean up. So usually these just slide out. Feels like it might have a screw or something in it. No, it's probably just going to slide out. So I'm going to disconnect the wires. I'll take that out and then we'll have a look at it. Okay, so I've been trying to turn this and I can't. So as I said, that's the heater tap. I've been trying with vice grips and I don't want to damage it. But what I did find was there was this tiny microscopic little screw. Where are we? Tiny little microscopic screw that was in the side of this part just here. And what it is, it controls, you can see there's a round bit in there that's it controls allowing it to stop and start, so it's a little bit hard to see. So basically turn it, hits the screw, turn it the other way, it hits the screw. That's your quarter turn or half turn or whatever it is that you can get out of it. But what I think it also is that it stops the core of the heater tap from coming out. So I've taken it out, and I'm going to go, and I'm just going to use a screwdriver, and I'm going to take the punt that if I hit that, that tap will come out. Looks to be moving. I'm being gentle here. Yep, I can see it's starting to come out. Okay, so that's our heater tap. Let's change this. So that's our heater tap. Pretty simple. It's got an O-ring around it, and this is that part that I was talking about. The little screw hits that part, goes around, hits that part. That controls it. Controls how far you can turn it. So an O-ring, and then the water goes in through there. When it's in an open position, the water can flow through there. When you turn it like that, it's closed. Not difficult, not complicated. So it was just jammed. Probably the O-ring was stuck. So I'll just give that a bit of a clean up, and then I'll put it back in, and then I will pressure test it and see whether it's got a leak. You might be wondering why I'm fixing this in the first place, because I'm going down the line of confidence that the thing works. But realistically, I didn't know if this was opened or closed, so if I can get it good, put it back in there, put it in the closed position, then I'll know if it leaks as well, I guess. So I'll give it a clean up and we'll give it a test. Okay, I've given that a very quick clean up. So just inside here, I just rolled up a piece of this Scotch-Brite, twirled it around a couple of times, and it's come up nice and clean. So it looks nice. Doesn't have to be beautiful, just needs to be clean. And that's the hole in there on the bottom. You can see that gets opened or blocked with the tap. And then the same with the tap. I've put the knob on it for the moment. So I just gave it a clean up. The O-ring, I just got a screwdriver, just ran around the side of it. I didn't take it off because I didn't want to break it. If it works, it works. So it moves, so seems okay. So this just goes in here like that, fits in, and now that just turns like that. So all I got to do is put that little screw back in, as far as I'm concerned. Other than not knowing about the O-ring, that part's fixed. Okay, so I'm outside. I've got the garden hose connected into one of the pipes over here, and I'm just going to put my finger on the other pipe. I've already done this, so I already know what the result is here, but I'll show you. So water coming through. That's where our hole is. So I might be able to fix that, I might be able to solder it. Looks like it's leaking over here as well, but that's why that was disconnected. Let's see if our tap works. Tap doesn't seem to be doing anything. Oh no. Makes some difference. There's a hole down here as well. So it's got a few holes in it. Now we know. So as hard as it is for me to do, I'm not going to be fixing the heater core on this just at the moment. I gave it a bit of a coat of paint on the front there. I've got the heater tap working, put the core back in there. I'm just holding this in place because I have to glue that there. As I said, just gave the front of it a coat of paint. Everything's doing what it's supposed to be doing, other than the fact that the heater's not going to work. I'm not going to connect the hoses back up. I'll put this in with the spare parts, but it's going to look like that. It'll have a fan, it'll have a vent, it won't have any heat. the heater core, it will be several $100s to get it fixed, and quite frankly, it's not something that I'm interested in doing at the moment. So it'll go back in as it is. So what I'm about to move on to, I've been scrubbing away on the inside of the car, and I'll show you the completed product, I should say. I've got 5 sun visors here, one as bad as the next. I can't remember which one was in the car, but one of them was. I've decided this one and this one are what I'm going to be using. We have a left and a right. It says here left and right. They're the best out of them. So I'm going to give those a really good clean up, and hopefully they look a lot better than that when I'm finished. Okay, I just spent a couple of minutes, just sprayed some window cleaner on it, gave it a scrub with a toothbrush. Let's see how it's come up after that. Got a bit of a stain on it there. I wonder if bleach had hurt it. Okay, so first going over. So this isn't the other one, the other one's already soaking, but you can see it's certainly better than that one, for example. This is the other one soaking here. So they were the pair that I showed you before. So after one quick clean, it's coming up all right. Window cleaner's got ammonia in it, by the way. So ammonia is a standard cleaning product. I think I was reading the bottle. Ammonia, fragrance, wetting agent, and I think that's about it. So the main ingredient is ammonia. You can just buy straight ammonia. Stinks. You can actually sort of gas yourself with it if you're not careful. I just use the window cleaner because I can use it for all sorts of things. I don't know, maybe the wetting agent in it makes it useful for cleaning windows, whereas ammonia itself is just a good cleaning agent generally. Okay, so I can see some stains on here, so I'll see maybe one of these ones, that one's got a rip in it, but it might clean up better. It's got a rip there as well. This one, a little mark's got a rip there, and this one also has a rip there. So I'll keep working on these ones. I'm just wondering if some of these brackets might be better. They look like they just come out with a screw. So I'll have a look. If any of these bracket things are in better condition than others, then I might swap those over as well. Make the best of what I've got. So we'll, as I said, I'll put this on here. I haven't done that side. Put this on here. I might try some bleach. Anyway, I'll keep going. Okay, so that's as good as they're going to come up, which I think is not too bad considering how they were. So it's got some stains on, they've got some stains on them here, here and here. This side's better. So that dark stain came out. Now something that I discovered was this product. It's called Domestos multi-purpose bleach. I have it on really good advice that apparently you can clean toilets and stuff with it as well. So a word of caution, if you intend to use this for working on your cars, buy your own bottle and hide it so that no one knows that you've got it or that you know how to use it. That's just my handy tip. I reckon they've come up all right. Been doing a little bit of painting on Sam's GMC. So I've got Doris covered. So let's have a look where she's up to. Okay, so both doors are now on. Josh helped me put this one on the other day, which was nice of him. And we have also got the dash back in. So let's have a look. So personally, I reckon that's looking pretty good. So I've ordered some, I didn't have any black vinyl spray, so I'm going to paint the kick panels, which are not in too bad a condition, but I'm going to paint those black, and I've ordered some black carpet for the front. I have some maroon or burgundy or whatever carpet that goes in the back, and that's going to stay there. I'd like to do both, but it's in good condition. I'm not going to unnecessarily change it. going to make some door panels, probably just out of black vinyl. And then the actual seats are maroon or burgundy corduroy, which look pretty good. So yeah, this is that dash. I think it's come up exceptionally well. So as I said, all I've done is change those pieces over, the aluminium parts. I've given everything a clean up. I ended up using, I think it was Mother's vinyl restorer, which left a much better finish than the Armor All. Painted the heater. That's a speaker for the radio. Put the radio back in. Cleaned everything as I was taking it apart and putting it back in. Just giving it a good clean. Making sure it does everything that it needs to. Door. As I said, it's got some scratches and things, but it's clean. With new door trims, it'll look great. So obviously adjusted the latch and everything on this one. And then we also, I also have still been cleaning the roof, so that's those sun visors up there. Got some stains, but you know, haven't finished cleaning everything up here. I've done the first 2 panels, but not the back. Done around that window a bit, so it's getting there. I've sort of moved across to Sam's car a little bit, so I've just stepped away from this the last few days, but you can see the tailgate on there, which it's come up really well, and it does everything it needs to do. Got to replace the panel here, and again, all those latches and everything that I cleaned up. And then I've got the scuff panels to hold the carpet in that I can put in place. I've still got to put some mirrors on it. Oh, and I've got the parcel shelf. I just gave it a quick coat of paint as well, so it'll go in under the dash. But it certainly is getting there. It's the little things that make the difference. So this car, and you remember I also painted the inside of the tailgate at the time because I'd done those rust repairs. So this car, other than a few little mechanical things and putting my wheels on, and they will be shown in the next video, it's pretty much there. So, you know, other than the interior obviously. So there's probably going to be 1, perhaps 2 more videos on this, and then I've got a new project to move on to. And it's not Sam's, and it's not the International. I've got a completely new project that is an absolute basket case, and I'm going to really enjoy doing it. Thanks for watching this one. I'm particularly enjoying the fact that it's nearly there. I really like this little car. It's no race car by any means. It's pretty cool. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. And hopefully this thing will be looking pretty good outside driving around. See you then.